Hi, my name is Fart Shartley. People in the RuneScape community might know me as the Jad in the Top Hat guy, or the guy with a weird hyperfixation on Jad, or the guy with the funny poop-themed name, and things of that nature. They might also know me as someone that's been pretty unhappy with the direction RuneScape has gone lately. The biggest complaint I see from people also looking to stop playing is, Old School Runescape is unique, what can possibly fill the void that it leaves? And I had this problem too, for a long time actually. I was still a slave to a game that I really didn't enjoy anymore just because it gave me the brain tinglies. But, dear viewer, what if I told you that I managed to find another game that also gives me the same brain tinglies as RuneScape? And what if I told you that I found it in the most unlikely of places? Minecraft. Yet, no, seriously, I'm not kidding. Enter Hypixel Skyblock. A friend of mine from OSRS got me sucked into this at a time when I was feeling particularly upset at the idea of playing RuneScape, and I was incredibly surprised to find out just how similar Skyblock felt, and in some ways felt better and more optimized than OSRS. So today, I'm going to take you on a journey into a new world. And no, not that new world. This one. And hopefully I can draw parallels for you that illustrate just how similar this game plays to OSRS, and how I can potentially convert you too into a Skyblock enjoyer. So this video is obviously aimed at players of RuneScape, specifically Old School RuneScape, like myself. And if you're gonna come here to the comments just to say, the game's the best it's ever been, what a joke, and things like that, I can stop you right there.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
I think that's wonderful that you feel that way. Really, I do. I want to see OSRS thrive, but myself and a lot of other players don't feel that way, so you can stop while you're ahead. So, in the spirit of trying to make your potential switch as smooth as possible, a lot of what I'll be showing you, I'm going to describe it using familiar RuneScape terminology and examples. For example, here's a weapon called the Hyperion. Old School RuneScape players will understand if I said, this is equivalent to a Twisted Bow or a Tumakin's Shadow. It gets the point across to an OSRS player as to the power and the utility of this weapon. That being said, this video is a one-way street. I'm not going to be explaining any RuneScape terminology I use, so if you're a Skyblock player watching this, good luck. So first up, what is Hypixel Skyblock? Well, it's less of a traditional Skyblock experience unless you opt to make it so, more on that later, and more of a unique MMO experience across multiple Sky Island-type worlds. So, how do I join? Well, assuming you are one of the millions of people with a Minecraft account in 2024, the year of our Lord, open a version of the game anywhere between 1.8.9 and the current release. Go to multiplayer and connect to the server mc.hypixel.net. Open up this compass, click on the little globe that says Skyblock, and congrats! You're in. You'll start out on a private Sky Island, which can be roughly equated to your POH in RuneScape. You're given some menial tasks to do with the goal of reaching that portal over yonder. That portal leads to the hub, which is, well, the hub. It's roughly equivalent to Lumbridge. It's the starting area where you'll find plenty of NPCs ready to help you get started on your journey. But hold on, before we do that, are you planning on becoming an Iron Man, by the way? Hypixel Skyblock, much like OSRS, offers a variety of game modes, which are basically just different flavors of playing the game. Much like OSRS Iron Man, Hypixel Iron Men stand alone. They have to do everything themselves and they can't use the auction house or the bazaar. The one exception is booster cookies. They're this game's version of the old school Bond, and we'll touch on those in just a bit. Stranded is akin to an Ultimate Iron Man experience in terms of difficulty. Do you like running a marathon with broken ankles? Stranded players cannot leave their private island and must accomplish everything they set out to do from there. The final profile type is Bingo, but it's only available during the first week of the month and works differently. It's this game's version of Leagues, albeit slightly different. And, did I mention all of these, minus Bingo and Mains, are Group Iron Man compatible. By default, you can have up to 5 players in a co-op, but this can be raised up to 8 by using shop upgrades. Again, we'll get to those later. A non-ranked, or non for short, account can have up to 2 profiles. Nons are this game's version of a free-to-play noob. If you want basic human rights, you better buy a rank in the Hypixel store. The number of profiles you can have at once increases based on your rank, and all of them except MVP++ are a one-off purchase. It's really not totally necessary, though. Speaking of purchases and dreaded microtransactions, one thing that is pretty necessary are booster cookies. A booster cookie is this game's version of a bond, and it gives you various helpful buffs throughout the game. You can claim one completely free of charge per account, not per profile, so if you plan to make multiple profiles, choose which one to use it on wisely. Booster cookies can be purchased with Skyblock gems from this chick, Elizabeth. and Skyblock gems are purchased with real money on the Hypixel store. However, you can also purchase cookies from the Bazaar, which is akin to the Grand Exchange. Even Iron Men can use the Bazaar to buy cookies, but this is the only exception to the standalone mentality. Based on your fame rank, you earn bits every time you eat a cookie, and you can spend bits on useful upgrades in the bits shop. The more bits and or gems you spend, the higher your fame rank will rise, and the higher your fame rank, the more bits per cookie you'll earn. And you will hit a point in which you'll earn enough bits per cookie to sell an item bought with bits to buy another cookie, thus allowing you to keep your cookie buff for free. With my current fame rank, I earn a little over 9,000 bits per cookie, which means I can buy this carrot candy upgrade for 8,000 bits and sell it on the auction house for around 10 to 11 mil. Since a cookie costs about 9 mil at the time of writing, I can easily buy another cookie. Cookie buffs tick down in real time, even when you're offline. One cookie will last you approximately 4 days, and they do stack, so if you eat 2 cookies in succession, you'll gain 8 days of buff. Another use of bits are god potions. They're basically like overloads, but they last a lot longer. In fact, they last for hours. God potions tick down in playtime. If my god pot lasts 18 hours, which the duration increases based on your alchemy level, that's 18 hours of time played, not offline time. God potions and cookie buffs are pretty important if you plan on doing just about anything, as the effects they provide are invaluable. If you time your first free cookie well, you can very feasibly use the buff it provides to progress your account to a point that you can easily make 9 mil for the next cookie, and it really takes off from there. Most feats in the game are tied to your skills, much like RuneScape. For example, your combat skill dictates what kinds of armor you can wear, and different sets may have different combat level requirements. Raising your combat level also raises your base critical chance and lets you deal more base damage to monsters. Raising mining, for example, grants Mining Fortune, which increases your odds of getting multiple ore drops. Mining Fortune replaces the vanilla Fortune enchantment with a more complex system. It also grants you increased defense as a passive. Taming grants you extra pet XP and passively raises your pet luck. Yeah, the pets in Skyblock aren't just for show, and they're some of your most important assets. Catch 'em all, and so on. All of these skills have various use cases, but probably the one most late-game OSRS players will appreciate is Dungeoneering. No, don't fret just yet, hear me out. Dungeoneering is basically if raiding was a skill. The game currently only has one raid, the Catacombs. Think of it as a mix of Chambers of Xeric and the Theater of Blood. There are 7 floors or layers of the dungeon, and each dungeon is randomized in layout, puzzles, and mini-bosses. Every dungeon floor ends in the same boss though, but if you stack the floors together, you get something that looks like the Theater of Blood bosses. 7 bosses in one order that get progressively harder. But you look at a floor as an individual slice, and you get something more that looks like cocks, one randomized raid that ends in the same boss each time. There are currently 12 skills to train, and most max out at level 50, some max out at level 60. Sorry folks, no 99s here. Very quickly I'll run through them and give you an approximate equivalent in RuneScape terms. Mining is, well, mining. Farming is about the same. Foraging is your woodcutting. This is widely regarded as the worst one to train. Fishing is also, yes, you guessed it, functionally similar to fishing in Old School. Enchanting doesn't really have an equal. It provides you more XP from all sources as you level it up. And alchemy is basically your herb lore skill, used to brew potions and increase the durations, particularly of god pots. Taming, as aforementioned, grants bonus pet XP and pet luck. Pet luck is kind of like extra pet drop chance, but it gets way more complicated than that. Dungeoneering, as I said, is your raid skill, more or less, and carpentry is like construction, trained by crafting items and letting you craft various furnitures for your island. Social is fairly useless unless you really like hosting house parties, or if you want to set up your island as a hub for other players. And rune crafting, much to the relief of any OSRS player, is trained by fighting bosses and lets you fix cosmetic runes to your weapons and armor. It's really not that bad. Now, throughout all this, you may notice that my GUI doesn't look like yours does, and that's because I'm using mods. Mods are kind of like RuneLite in Skyblock, and much like RuneScape, there are blacklisted mods that will get you banned. And also like RuneLite, there exist a ton of fake versions of mods designed specifically to hijack your account and steal all your precious goodies. Mods are absolutely not necessary, as the gameplay of vanilla is really well optimized, but they do provide very useful quality of life things. Badline is a Minecraft client, sort of like RuneLite, that contains many of these already without having to launch them through Forge, but I just installed Forge and launched them through the vanilla launcher anyway. I cannot stress enough. that mods are used at your own risk and own discretion. I am not at fault if you yeet your account by mistake via getting it hacked or banned or whatever the case may be. Starting out, there are a few things to keep in mind. You do not drop your items on death, but you will lose half of the coins in your purse and your potion effects on death. Your bank can hold coins and only hold coins, up to a certain amount that you can increase via upgrades. Cookie buff prevents coin and potion effect loss on death. That's very important. Claim a rogue sword from Jamie to help you with early game speed. Running around and being slow is one of the worst feelings. Every player is going to have different interests and different playstyles and desires. For starting out, I highly recommend rushing the Dwarven Mines. This means navigating to the bottom of the deep caverns at the end of the gold mine, getting to level 12 mining and turning in the enchanted items to Rees. 80 items makes one enchanted item, and you need a certain collection level to unlock the enchanted item recipe. You gain collection by simply collecting that type of item, and I'd highly recommend lapis, redstone, and diamond. The borders between these cavern zones are typically void of monsters, so you can mine them as you need without having too much trouble, but be careful anyways. You can also rush combat and start doing Slayer. To do so, find Maddox in the basement of the Hub Tavern and get started. However, Slayers can be very difficult at low levels. At level 14 combat, you'll unlock the End, and at level 22, you unlock the Crimson Isle, which is the Nether. And you meet this cutie. Early on, you'll probably visit the Thaumaturge and the Hub to select a Power Stone. These powers provide you with varying stat buffs based on the power you select, and the buffs will increase based on something called your magical power. Your magical power increases based on the number and rarity of accessories in your accessory bag. Therefore, accessories in the accessory bag upgrades are always important, as this will be one of your biggest boosts to your stats throughout the game. You can claim additional slots from the Redstone Miner quest in the caves, your Redstone collection, and Jacobus by spending GP. It's not a terrible idea early game to run as many redstone minions as you can on your island until you max out your accessory bag. Speaking of minions, you unlock the ability to place more minions by crafting new ones. Minions can be upgraded to tier 11 or tier 12 if you go through some shenanigans, and each tier counts as a unique minion. Late game minions can become incredible passive moneymakers, so it's worth unlocking as many slots as you can. If you rush to level 14 combat to unlock the End, I'd highly recommend that's the point in which you claim and use your free cookie. Then you can kill the Enderman in the end to drop at least a rare Enderman pet. It's a decent starter pet, as the bonus crit damage is very good. Most pets have an associated rarity ranging from common to legendary, or in some cases mythic. Pets will unlock more of their perks the higher the rarity, and the efficacy of those perks increase as the pet levels up. This means that legendary and mythic pets tend to be the most expensive of their kind. However, you can give a pet to an NPC in the hub, and for a fee and waiting some real-life days, she'll upgrade the rarity for you. The fee is different for each pet. Try and reforge your weapons or armor to give you as close to or over 100% critical chance if possible. One-hitting enemies is king. For some very early game money, you can break the wheat in the hub fields and sell that in the seeds you get to this farmer girly here. Most actions you do will give you Skyblock XP, which contributes to your Skyblock level. Rush your Skyblock level early on, and get to at least 7 so the items you collect will automatically go into your inventory and you'll get access to the bazaar. Throughout the game, you'll find these weird marble-looking things called fairy souls hidden around. Grab them, they're important. You turn them in at this girl in the hub wilderness, and she'll reward you with an increase in your stats and opening up backpack slots for you to use. Even though OSRS players are spoiled by having one of the best game wikis out there, Hypixel's isn't quite as top-notch, but it's still very useful, and you should consult it when you're stuck. If you're stuck on what to do, opening the Skyblock guide serves as a very good baseline. However, much like OSRS, this game is a relatively sandboxy experience. You have to kind of get your feet wet into all sorts of things and figure out what you enjoy. And that's basically it. I've compressed and omitted so much of the grind this game has to offer for time, but despite being in Minecraft, it really feels like a proper MMO in its own right. If you're a fan of the slow burn dopamine tingles that Old School Runescape gives you, and are looking to switch things up, I'd highly recommend checking this out. I think I'll leave you there though, because I do think much like early RuneScape, some of the magic of this game comes from figuring it out yourself. See you around.